Yoga for the face, dark circles and bags under the eyes. Hi, in general, sagging facial skin, dark circles and bags under the eyes can be signs lack of sleep, eating problems, aging or certain medical problems such as liver, kidney or stomach disease. In addition to consulting a doctor to find out the cause and treat the root if there is a problem with a particular disease. You can also refer to this exercise with me if deemed appropriate and approved by your doctor. Now if you are ready, I invite you to practice with me. Before each training session, you should meditate in the diamond pose like this for a few minutes. Here I will start you with this pose for 1 minute. Then, for 30 seconds, we are in child's pose. In this pose, the practitioner can relax many different target muscle groups such as ankles, knees, hips, back, shoulders, etc. But in this session with our therapeutic objective, make your whole face relax by resting your forehead on the floor, even if of course we relax the whole body, but only focus on the face. Feel your face relax, warmed up and receives an active blood supply. This posture would be a good start for the next inverted poses. Now let's move on to downward facing dog pose. This pose lasts 1 minute. With feet and hands in contact with the ground, our body forms an upside-down V on the floor like this. Pay attention to straightening your legs, arms and back. Shoulder relax. At the same time, the head is also relaxed and tends to come closer and closer to the feet. Always breathe regularly, slowly and deeply, for phases, with the lower abdomen. We rest in the child's pose by resting our forehead on the ground and relaxing our face just as we did in the practice above, within 15 seconds. Now we are going to do a pose called downward facing dog on the forearms. Also in 1 minute. However, in this pose, we are going to do techniques that can be quite difficult for some people. That is, the feet are always in contact with the ground without walking high on tiptoe. At the same time, slowly move forward with your legs, increase hip flexion. We will therefore increase the stretching of the hamstrings, but the most important thing in this exercise is, increase lumbar stretch. Increases blood circulation in the face, Simultaneously reinforce the push of the arms with the firmness of the shoulders, make a good premise for performing the next poses. Be careful not to move your feet too fast, but take it little by little. The important thing here is to make the body adapt with all organ systems awake and operate in harmonious coordination. But above all, a positive excitability of the nervous system, especially the autonomic nervous system. Now that's it, let's rest in child's pose for a period of 30 seconds. Lay your forehead on the floor and always pay attention to the sagging of the face. Now we are going to do the headstand pose. One thing to notice in this pose today is that we will rest our foreheads on the ground between our palms on the ground, rather than resting the top of the head on the floor as in the basic headstand pose. We'll put our foreheads on the ground like this, which will facilitate the blood circulation of the face, including circulation in the area around the fovea. Please watch carefully and follow me. We move our feet forward as far as we can so that our buttocks can rise as high as possible. Then gently lift each leg. Balance and stretch your legs vertically. 1 minute. At this point, the weight of the body rests on the forearms and forehead. In addition to spine and leg stability, both hands will be responsible for maintaining the posture without falling. Pay attention to breathing regularly, slowly, and deeply with the lower abdomen. For phases, to be in a complete inversion like this, the blood will rush to the head and face and thus improves metabolic processes and cell renewal. As a result, you will notice tension in your head and face. However, if you breathe well through your lower abdomen, you will always get a good relaxation at the top of your face without the phenomenon of excessive stress and headaches. Conversely, if you breathe the chest and with superficial and short breaths, you will definitely feel very uncomfortable in this position. One more thing, in this pose as in any other in this session, it's okay if you fall after a few seconds. Rest in child's pose for a few seconds, then do it again and again. We will rest in child's pose for 30 seconds. Place your forehead on the ground and always pay attention to the relaxation of your face. Now we are going to do the more difficult pose, which is the same pose as above, but the head is no longer on the floor. However, we still enter the pose in the same way as above. First of all, we maintain the headstand pose on the forehead. Next, slowly shift your body weight completely onto your arms. The upper body is properly adjusted to maintain balance. And we raise our heads high, the forehead leaves the ground. The eyes want to say goodbye to the ground. Hold this pose for 1 minute. That moment of raising your head and lifting your forehead off the ground like that is a relatively difficult technique for many people, even for some people who already have some level of yoga. However, this technique is very important and has great meaning for general yoga practice. and with the treatment of disease, improving health in particular. I personally attach great importance to the principle of this technique. Please try to practice to end this difficult moment. Conversely, if you are new to the practice of yoga, you can also temporarily stop in headstand pose as above, and will gradually complete this exercise over the weeks and months to come. On the other hand, one can also do the poses with the help of a loved one, or do poses while leaning against a wall or against a pillar, etc. This can also have a good healing effect. Now we come out of the pose by placing our foreheads on the floor, then put each foot on the ground gently and safely like this. Now we rest in the child's pose for 30 seconds. Please note that the rest period should not be too short, lest the body become easily exhausted. On the contrary, it is also advisable not to rest for too long, to avoid letting the body lose the positive excitement that yogis often call the body cooled by resting for too long. In fact, a period of rest between vigorous movements like this, usually 15 to 30 seconds, is sufficient. Then we rest in the diamond pose like this for another 15 seconds, helping our body to regain a good feeling of space. And we are going to repeat the above technique a second time, also for 1 minute. This is the central technique of this exercise, so please try to practice with me with appropriate intensity. If you cannot maintain the pose for a long time, you will practice more than once, even if only for a few seconds. 10 or 15 seconds is also very good. Do it again and again. We also come out of it the same way as above. Rest in child's pose for 30 seconds. And then, for the diamond pose, 15 seconds. If above we did the opposite pose on the forearms, raising your head and raising your forehead from the ground. Now we will enter this pose in the opposite direction. Please watch me carefully and do it together. It is entered in the same way as above. But the difference is that here our heads do not touch the ground. All the weight of the body now rests on the forearms. Softly bounce your feet towards the ceiling, then hold this position for 1 minute. Only one yoga pose, but two different ways to enter. You will be able to feel the difference in these two ways. I am not talking here about the easy or difficult aspects of each approach, but I want to emphasize the physio and pathological effects for the process to affect physical movement processes inside the body. The effects of each way on the body, the target muscle groups, are very different. Therefore, the healing and physical enhancement effects are also different. Please practice and feel for yourself. I would also be happy if you tell me what you think in the comments, maybe today and maybe weeks, months later. Thanks in advance for that. Come on, let's get out of here smoothly and safely like this. We rest in this child's pose for 30 seconds. Please note that after any inversion pose, you should not sit down immediately to avoid a shock to cerebral blood circulation. Then rest in the diamond pose for 15 seconds. And we will do the pose above for the last time in today's session. This time, we will probably maintain the pose for 30 seconds. Come on, let's get out of here smoothly and safely like this. We are going to rest in the child's pose for 15 seconds. And, to end the session and staying in this position like that, rub your palms together to warm them up, then affix a moment against the eyelids. Do it many times before resting in diamond pose, and end the training session today. Good health and beauty. Thanks, goodbye and see you soon.